Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Miss Glen and Friends Read On. I'm so excited to have a repeat reader, one of my good friends, my best friend, Miss Smith, to come and read. So, to those who may be catching the replay, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to jump right in it, let Miss Smith introduce herself to those of you who may not know her, and then go right into the book.
Power on.
Hello,
Bluetooth pairing.
everybody. How are you guys
Bluetooth
doing?
connected.
And I am so excited about coming back to read with you guys yet again. And I've chosen a book today that I hope you guys like as much as I've grown to like it. So I'm going to be honest and say that as a child, this book scared me just a little bit, only because I judged the book by its cover. And it wasn't until I became sort of like maybe like a teenager until I could appreciate the book because I actually picked it up to read it. I was an avid reader as a little elementary student. So I loved staying in the library and picking out various books. And one day I came across this particular book that I'm going to show you in a minute on the shelves of the library. And I jumped back. I was like, oh no, I'm scared to read that. So I put it back because I judged it by its cover. But this book definitely teaches a great lesson to all of us. And hopefully we'll be able to talk a little bit about that as we read. Okay. Now, the book that I'm going to show you is a fantasy, which means it is in the genre, is in the fiction genre, right? But it's more than just fiction. Right? So you have those fantastic ideas that can never really happen in real life, which makes it fantasy. Okay. All right. So of course you have those parts of the story, where that you might be able to relate to, but the majority of the plot is composed of, details that are fantastic, those things that can never happen in real life. All right. And so in this book, the author uses the word terrible over and over and over again. And I want you to think about why he might be using the word terrible, okay, over and over again. And I'm going to introduce you to, or maybe review for some, two vocabulary words that you're going to hear in here. Okay, one, you're going to hear the word mischief. All right. And so, of course, we know mischief is that annoying behavior. And then you're going to hear the word rumpus. All right. And so rumpus is like sort of like a loud, wild commotion, or even like a party, if you will. All right. So remember, it's fantasy. And I chose this book because the main character in this book, it's called Where the Wild Things Are. All right. And the story and pictures are by Mari Sendak. Now, the main character in this book is a little boy named Max. And Max is a little kid like you. And like you, Max deals with a little bit of challenge here. He deals with the challenges of being a kid in a world that's run by adults. And he has to deal with his emotions. And I know as you are home with your families, you're enjoying your families, but I'm sure you want to go out and about, and you might be experiencing a little cabin fever. So you might be getting into a little mischief at this time. And so Max kind of deals with his emotions a little in this book. And I want you to think about, how does Max deal with his emotions throughout this book? Okay, so this book deals with, like I said, emotions, family, and how our behavior affects others. And so I thought this book might be appropriate, considering the fact that most of us have been inside for nearly 4 weeks. And we're probably ready to just go on about our regular day, and we can't. And so how are we dealing with those emotions? All right, so here we go. Where the Wild Things Are, Story and Pictures by Mari Sendak. Now, this is a long book or a wide book, so I'll try my best to show the pictures after I read a line or two. And of course, I'm going to be using my handy dandy favorite reading app, my new favorite reading app, Novel Effect. All right. Where the Wild Things Are, Story and Pictures by Mari Sendak. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind, And another. His mother called him Wild Thing. And Max said,
I'll eat you up.
so he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew. And grew. And grew until his ceiling hung with vines and the walls became the world all around him. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day. And in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. Till Max said,
be still.
and tamed them with the magic trick of staring into their yellow eyes without blinking once. And they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. And made him king of all the wild things. And now, cried Max, let the wild rumpus begin! Now stop, Max said, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then all around, from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being king of where the wild things are. But the wild things cried, oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so. And Max said, no. The wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye. And sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day and into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was still hot. The end. I hope you enjoyed that book on tonight, boys and girls. It surely is one of my favorites as a starting as a teenager and into an adult, because it really talks a lot about how we can learn to deal with our emotions, and it also helps us to talk about and explore how important it is to display good behavior and even the consequences that happens when we don't. So I'm wondering if I have any children out there on there with me, if you can kind of tell me, how did Max deal with his emotions? How did Max deal with his emotions throughout the book? And if you have an answer, go ahead and let me know. If not, I will definitely ask that you use your imagination while you're on your spring break, and you do the things that you know that you need to do and that you would like to do, and make sure that you practice safety, respect yourself and others, interact positively, demonstrate responsibility throughout this time. And don't forget, there are lots of crazy things that we can get into while we're on this break, but we can use our imagination and channel our behavior in the right direction. Thank you so much for inviting me, Ms. Glenn.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Miss Smith, for reading that book and helping us with just a conversation starter about our emotions as we move into spring break. As you said, one of the things I was able to talk to my students about this morning was just how we're feeling. How are we feeling moving into spring break? What are we going to do? And many of them mentioned, and many of you watching, you may be thinking about the trips that had to be canceled, or the parties that may have to be postponed. But as Ms. Smith has already said, I challenge you all to think about one, how Max dealt with his emotions, and then let's transfer and see how can we deal with our emotions concerning our plans having to change. And then beyond that, let's think about how Max used his imagination to still have an amazing time, like as a part of dealing. And we can do the same thing as we move next week. Let's use our imagination. Let's stay safe. But let's have fun and enjoy those who are right there with us and who are connected to us through technology. So thank you to everyone who has joined tonight. Thank you to those who may be watching the replay. To all of my students who've joined, I see Kennedy, you were there. I see Harmony, you were there. I
Hi.
see my sister joined, so I'm assuming Dominique and Daryl are watching. So
Hi,
if Dominique and Daryl are watching, hey, hey, and Keisha and Daryl, big Daryl too. But to everyone who's just been supporting these readings, I appreciate you all so much. And this is our last reading until April 20th. We'll be back after spring break. So until then, you all stay safe, use your imagination, have fun. I don't know, just be great. Continue to be great. You all have been such champions through it all. So just continue to be great. Have a great night, and we'll see you back here hopefully April 20th. Good night, everyone.
Good night.